Hey guys, it's Russell back, and on today's video I'm going to be showing you how to properly degrease your car's engine. I'm going to be using the MTM PF22 foam cannon. This is the newest foam cannon and the best foam cannon in my opinion from MTM. And this whole setup I call the submachine gun style foamer. People ask me, why do I say that? Well, it looks like a little World War II submachine gun. The chemical that we're going to be using is the absolute favorite chemical that I have for degreasing engines. I've been using this stuff for about 25 years, and it is the ZEP heavy duty citrus degreaser. This stuff will take heavy diesel oil and gunk off of an engine very, very well. I'm going to put the links to both of these on Amazon where you can order it. I believe at this time both of these have free shipping if you're a Prime member, so that will help you and save you some money. Can you run degreaser through this MTM foamer? Absolutely, yes you can. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to properly degrease the engine. If you've never done an engine clean before, there are just a few common sense rules that if you will follow, you'll be okay. So let's go out and see what it takes to degrease an engine properly. Alright, so this is a typical Volkswagen TDI turbo diesel engine. And it doesn't matter what make and model car you have. There are a couple things that I want you to keep in mind. Number one, do not clean your engine if the engine is still really hot. It's okay for it to be warm if you want to idle it for a couple of minutes. Let the block and everything get a little bit warm because it will clean a little better with the ZEP citrus cleaner. But don't do it on a hot engine. That's the first thing. Number two, use some common sense. We don't want to spray directly, we don't want to spray water, high pressure water directly in the alternator. Yes, it's going to get some water in there. Yes, it's going to get a little wet. It's not going to hurt it, but don't sit there with your pressure washer and just lay into that. That's not going to, it's not going to work. Any type of connectors that you have, we want to use a light spray when we rinse the engine off. We don't want to use a heavy pressure spray. I'm going to show you the tip that I'm going to have with the pressure washer, which is the same tip that I use when rinsing the car paint itself. Wherever your air filter is located, you don't want to, if you have an opening for the air intake, this one happens to be inside the fender, so it's not an issue, but if you happen to have one that's got an open air intake, just take a bag or something and cover that over, maybe a little duct tape, so you don't squirt water directly into the intake. Same thing with the alternator. If you want to cover it with a shopping bag or a piece of aluminum foil to keep some of the water off there, that's perfectly fine. If you have a fuse box or fuse relay cover, some cars have them in the engine compartment, make sure that that is not open. You don't want to spray that. This one does not have that here, but if you do, just again cover it with some aluminum foil or a shopping bag. You can use a little duct tape and that'll be fine. But everything else, we're going to just do a light rinse off. It's not going to hurt our connectors because we're not going to be using a lot of pressure. So the very first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and put my solution of the ZEP cleaner and water into the foam gun, and then we'll go ahead and foam this with a degreaser and let it sit. Alright, so what I did was I took 10 ounces of the ZEP citrus cleaner straight. I didn't add any water at all. So I'm going to use this, and we're going to go ahead and treat the engine with pretty much all of this. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and lay the foam down. Alright, so after we've gone ahead and applied the degreaser, I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes. Depending on how bad and how greasy and dirty your engine is going to determine how long you let yours sit. I try to clean the engine on this about once a year. So when I go to rinse this, I'm not going to have hardly any pressure. In fact, I'm not going to use the pressure washer at all. Now, if you have, let's say, underneath the underside of the engine, some real heavy road grime and caked grease, mud, stuff like that, then you could, if you wanted to, use the pressure washer. But there's a lot of electrical components, as I said before, and I don't need a lot of pressure because there's not a lot of heavy built up, almost like mud on the engine itself. But this degreaser will pretty much melt or dissolve the heavy grease that's on here and the oil, and that's what we're after. And of course, it's going to get rid of the dust, and you'll see that the engine compartment will look very, very nice and presentable after we do that. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for 6 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're back 10 minutes later, approximately 10 minutes, and I'm just going to take garden hose pressure with my hose nozzle. And I'm just going to start up here at the windshield cowl. And again, keeping in mind what I told you before. Make sure if you get this degreaser on your paint, you go ahead and rinse it off thoroughly. Okay, again, if you had really heavy grease and grime on the bottom side of the engine, which this does not, you could do that. So I'm going to show you what it's, we're just going to use soap. Now let's say you've got a newer car and it's just got a lot of dust and it doesn't have a lot of oily residue like an older car is going to have. Well, we're just going to use the same technique. We're going to use the PF22. And I'm going to foam the engine with just regular soap, and we'll do that next. All right, I took about 8 ounces of Mequire's crystal, deep crystal car soap, no water in here, just straight soap, and we're going to go ahead and foam the engine. Okay, so it's really that simple. Yes, I'm going to show you guys real quick that I got everything. Okay, but again, I didn't spray directly down in the alternator. Yes, it's going to get some soap in there. It will get a little wet. That's fine. But I went ahead and got everything good. So use this technique if you've got a newer car that's just got road dust and stuff on it. You don't really need to use the degreaser. If you want to use the degreaser, it's perfectly fine. It will keep any type of grime at bay. So pretty much since I've owned this car, since it was new, I have at least once a year done this engine cleaning procedure with a variety of different chemicals, but pretty much the same. It's the same thing. So we're going to let this dwell again about 10 minutes, come back and rinse it off with our garden hose. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use my pressure nozzle on the garden hose, and we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing I did as far as rinsing. All right, so after you've done either or both of the foaming procedures, rinse the engine off, you have three options. You can let it air dry like this. You can use some compressed air or maybe a leaf blower to blow some of the water out. Or you can do what I do, is just get in the car, start the engine, let it warm up, and most of the water will start to evaporate. Whether you choose to foam it, to degrease it, or to do both, just follow some of the common sense procedures that I showed you, and your engine degreasing job will go just fine. So I hope this video was helpful. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. Hit that red button and the notification bell next to it. You'll be immediately notified every time I upload a new video. And if you would like to donate to the channel to fund some of the product reviews and tests that we have upcoming planned, then feel free to do so. I appreciate your viewership, and I will see you on the next video.